I am assigned female at birth and identify myself as queer and non-binary. I have multicultural heritage from Barbados in the Caribbean and County Durham in northern England. I am fairly frequently assumed to be a cis man, probably because I'm 6 foot and do not conform to standardised signifiers of femininity. My build does not completely betray my gender, which has been a source of frustration and now relief. I have wondered how this may impact my filmmaking in gaze, particularly what it implies in images about either domestic spaces or intimate settings. That is why I was initially drawn to this question. What is meant by feminine modes of filming? How can having a cunt impact the way we view and, more importantly, the way we document the world?
Showed me what my heart was worth. So when it comes to be my turn, could you shine it down here for her? 'Cause my love is mine, all mine. I love mine. Nothing in the world belongs to me but my love, mine, all mine. Nothing in the world is mine for free.
Barbie Video Girl. She's a real working video camera. The camera lens is in her necklace. The video screen is on her back.
Who do you video girl?
However, I'm going to work around this question, as it is awkward, like most things that pertain to gender. Does it mean feminine, as if the filmmakers had painted nails and a weak grip when they operated the camera? Or does it mean feminist, a fundamental belief that men and women and everyone in between are equally valuable? And then which brand of feminism are we talking about? And does it include my trans and sex worker kin? How does being situated as the other in relation to men, or heteronormativity, or capitalism, or society as a whole, both squash our identities and uphold them?
How do you feel being in front of the
Yeah, I feel like less comfortable.
less comfortable?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're fine.
you're fine.
Yeah. I don't know what to do now though. Can we go?
Yeah, let's go.
Can we stop?
Yeah, we can start. That shimmer from the water.
To support me in uncovering these questions, I will be using footage I and Cameron Wright took on a doomed romantic trip, where the slippery understanding of self and the other is thin and intensified. I'll also look at Safi Faye's films and rely specifically on an essay called Writing Against Culture by Laila Abu Lugod, who talks about the positionality of Harfies and feminists. Harfies being those whose, quote, national or cultural identity is mixed by virtue of migration, overseas education, or parentage, end quote. I am a Harfi due to my lineage, and Safi Faye is also a Harfi, as she was educated at the Louis Lumiere Film School in France. But I also regard Safi Faye as a Harfi by taking a school of study that fundamentally relies on the difference between the West and non-Western other. Faye flips anthropological conventions on itself to create thoughtful and sensitive work, which exemplifies a way of grappling with the tension contained in the questions I am posing. I do not think you will find the answers within this short time frame. I've asked for too many things, but perhaps we can ponder.
I am Amsterdam Cafe.
Nothing in the world belongs to me but my love, mine, all mine. Nothing in the world is mine for free but my love, mine, all mine.
Je vous écris cette lettre pour vous demander de vos nouvelles. Quant à moi, je me porte bien. Dieu merci. C'est ainsi que commencent les lettres chez nous quand on s'écrit.
Safi Faye is a Senegalese anthropologist and filmmaker. In Kadu Baykat, or Letter from My Village from 1976, Faye directs an ethno-fiction about her hometown and community. There is a clear distinction between us and them in her film, and we, the outsiders, are temporarily invited in with an expectation that we will also leave. She deconstructs the pastoral and authoritative voice usually given to the white male anthropologist and casts it on her own community with what I confidently detect as familiarity and warmth. She is transparent about the fears the subjects hold, being in the voyeur's gaze.
Mes parents m'ont fait des reproches comme celui-ci. Le spectateur va se moquer de nous parce que nous sommes mal habillés, parce que nous sommes toujours en train de travailler.
Using a mixture of observational and directed shots, which makes you want to study the shots closely to set them apart, she takes us around her village. She also depicts the devastating agricultural and economic changes the villagers face as a consequence of economic policy and monoculture.
Booba dañ doon béy gerte bu tuuti ñu béy dugub bu bari ak ceeb bu bari. Booba tam suñu nag yi dañ daan bari. Boo demee gerte ya boo ratoon juróomi nag rek yëpp danañ ci xej waaye léegi danga ratt fukk boo ñëwee mu yem ci sa nañ.
Through these various representations and her explicit connection to the subjects of the film, and presumably to the future of the community and landscape, the weight of responsibility is shifted considerably from the standard observational anthropological film.
Mes parents agriculteurs éleveurs, ma grande famille.
Even as it borrows from the format itself, the result is distinctly and quickly more intimate and more powerful, as it always is when there is a personal stake. There is one scene I want to draw your attention to which stand out against the rest. The figure's body is obscured, which gives her an amorphic effect as she blends into her surroundings. The lapping sounds of the water are lulling and repetitive, as is the cyclical gesture of pouring water onto her body, and the use of her palm to brush the excess water away. It's a configuration we all know. We all know the contour of our faces underneath the palm of our hands. While you are aware of her nudity, it is not a spectacle. The zoom action of the camera makes you aware that we are watching. However, it feels more like we are edging closer to the moment and not to ogle at her breasts. It's subtle, and I find it beautiful for multiple reasons. Through this specific scene, because of the positionality of womanhood being depicted and embodied by the filmmaker, I argue that this tension of being both of the other and apart from her as an ethnographer and as a feminist come into play simultaneously. As a Harfi, Abu Logod states that because when they, the Harfi, present the other, they are presenting themselves. They speak with the complex awareness of and investment in reception. Both Harfi and feminist anthropologists are forced to confront squarely the politics and ethics of their representations. Therefore, as a viewer, we are allowed access to this moment, and the honour of this encounter is not lost on us.
It's always dry.
We're gonna sort that out now.
Do you think we're performing?
What do you mean?
No, I don't think we are.
Oh, you mean for the camera?
Yeah.
No. I would have done the same whether the camera was there or not.
Right.
I find Safi Faye incredibly impressive. She understood her positionality in politics better than anyone. She understood the way she was seen, she understood the way her culture had been historically depicted, and she understood the field she was entering into.
Like in the shots.
No, just like in the storytelling.
In the story.
However, her work doesn't feel like a reactionary gesture to overthrow an oppressive patriarchal landscape. It feels like a language within and for itself. Without being too colloquial, it feels like she's tapped in to something else, whether that be influenced by factors like representing people's lives that mirrored her own, or her work ethic, or her training within the colony connected with her homeland.
You need to speak to your mom and stuff to like get money for this thing and all of that.
Everything's starting today.
What, like the course?
Faye has responded to questions about how she centers women in her films, and she says, "Women alone cannot live in Africa. Women live in a community, and I cannot eliminate the community." A feminist ideology that, whilst complicated, does make sense when thinking about her work is being and becoming. Being speaks to the limitation of the biological essentialism of women, which is invariably linked to men, and becoming, which speaks to the unknown future of what that woman can be, and the temporal relationship they have to each other. In a paper published by Cambridge Press about becoming, Charlie Bowen writes about how the becoming pushes through new realities. Quote, "Rather, becoming women must mean forming new relations in such a way that existing relations are effaced through their incompatibility with the becoming of existence." Even when Faye chooses to portray women as singular or centralized figures, they are always in community. This entanglement and relational experience links back to the becoming potentially being Faye's feminine mode of filming, as the interconnectedness of smaller events like how she uses her gaze on her community and larger consequences like how she has influenced African cinema are all at play. Looking and using this footage of a past self who was engaged in a deluded love affair with a stranger has been interesting to say the least. I can see a version of myself also entangled in past and future selves that had to become and more so had to beckon the next one in.
Sweat beats fill me, Cupid's shot me, my heart beats racing.